Am I responsible for my brother's death? I had this unbarring guilt and thought that I was responsible for my twin brother's death. My twin brother, Matt, committed suicide in our junior year of high school. My dad till this day is still searching for answers on what must have triggered him to take his own life. I think he's settling on the idea that he was bullied and that he couldn't handle it. Although that was partially true, that wasn't the only reason. You see, Matt and I weren't close. It's always been like that. But one thing we had in common was our struggles. My mom had been checked in the mental institution when we were both in middle school. She suffered from paranoia, schizophrenia. Besides that, Matt was kind of difficult to talk to. He was socially awkward and seemed to never have any interest in communicating with anyone, but it's not hard to tell that he had such a kind soul. He wouldn't even hurt a fly. But life was the biggest bitch to him. He would avoid talking to people because he had a noticeable stutter. He developed a stutter in the 5th grade, and throughout middle school, he lost all of his friend. They'd make fun of him and mock him. My brother wasn't the type to speak up for himself. You could throw rocks at him till he'd bleed out to death, but he still wouldn't scream for help. I'd see Matt lonely at the cafeteria, eating his lunch alone every day. Every day I'd pry myself to sit next to him, but never really had the guts to. I had my own friends. It wasn't until one day I caught him sitting next to the hot new guy my friends wouldn't stop talking about. The smile and laughter coming from the table he was sitting at was enough to put a smile on my face. I'd never seen him smile like that before. His friend Adam would come over to our house, from occasionally seeing him to seeing him every day, after school and middle of the night. It became normal seeing him on a daily. Some nights I'd hear his and Matt's laughter through the wall. At times I would find it annoying, but it also made me happy for him. He had found his person. But things took a turn when one late night I came home from a party. I was drunk, but not till the point where I could have blacked out at moment. Luckily, my dad had the night shift at my local mall, so he wasn't around to lecture me about coming home late. As I had begun to make my way to the kitchen, I had noticed the lights were on. As my vision recovered, I saw it was Adam. His bright hazel eyes would start to gaze at mine. I've always thought Adam was a very attractive guy. He was 6'2", slightly tan, and had the perfect bone structure. I vividly remember what kind of conversation we had. But one thing led to another. We were having on the living room couch. Till today, this has been my biggest regret. Midway through the lights in the living room, it was Matt. He didn't shout or throw a fit. He gave a blank stare, a stare that would haunt me for the rest of my life. Then he walks away, slamming his bedroom door behind him. Adam tried getting him out of the room, but with many attempts, I had told him to go home and that he'd get over it. And the worst part after all that, I went to bed like nothing had happened. I had no guilt or remorse in my body. If only knew how much pain that costed him. A week passes by, and my dad and I haven't seen nor heard from him. I assumed he and ran away, but sadly that wasn't the case. I had this memory of coming home from school with 2 cops in the living comforting my dad as he busted into tears. One of the officers took me to the kitchen to tell me the news. She had told me that my brother had shot himself inside my dad's van at the lake across my school. My heart sank, and you can imagine the rest of what happened. So was it my fault?